Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Arrows Up podcast. This is German. It's fight week. It's late in September for a Canelo fight week. So shout out to the UFC for stealing Mexican Independence Day from Canelo. But David is here. David, Canelo's fighting in what, 3 days? 3 days from now. We're recording on a Wednesday, so by the time people hear this, it'll be Wednesday night to Thursday. So it'd be 2 days before Canelo fights. How are you feeling? What are you? Don't give me your thoughts yet, but how are you feeling? How do you typically feel during a Canelo fight week?
I feel pretty good, man. Honestly, the last time I don't want to say nervous, but I was like, yo, this is a really tough fight. Was the Saunders fight.
Hmm.
That's the last time we were kind of like, yo, he might lose.
I
Um,
think that part of you and I were both very cautious.
yeah, just because of his movement, we were like, okay, but
Hmm.
and then I guess a little bit for the Bivol fight. I felt really good about the Bivol fight, but I was still, the whole weight thing comes into play. But yeah, I would say like worried was like the Saunders fight. This one, I feel, I feel good. Yeah, I feel great. I'm not that nervous.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think I think he's gonna Canelo's gonna prove a lot of people wrong. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, he's looking old and this and that, and but I think he's gonna look good. He looks determined in his training.
Yeah. I think not to step into our conversation, but it heading into the Bill fight, I was nervous that he wasn't taking it seriously, and it turned out he's kind of admitted it too without admitting it because he's such a prideful guy that he's not gonna come out and say like, oh yeah, I didn't train as hard, but he's like hinted to where like you know that wasn't my best,
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't like all the golf stuff. I didn't like a lot of that stuff. Um, I just love the way he's looking in the interviews, what he's saying. Um, Obviously the Instagram workout stuff you can take with a grain of salt because um, I want anybody
Yeah, they're
can.
short clips, like 10, 20 second
Yeah.
clips.
You know,
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, who plays in the NBA, who's a complete wreck. That guy has amazing workout videos. Never translates that, and but then he'll be out half a year because he's like depressed or something like that. So you take those workout videos with a grain of salt. So, but he looks phenomenal. He looks as good. He looks like almost like he looked when he was fighting.
Like
Uh,
Triple G, like,
yes, that's
yeah,
and I didn't want to. I was gonna tweet that out the other day, but I'm like, you know what? Let me not tweet that. But
knock on wood. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, but he looks like focused. He looks so determined to like, man, you guys think I'm afraid of these guys? Like these guys? So it's that's been really cool. That's been really good to see. But we'll do that whole deep dive on the Canelo Charlo fight towards the end of the pod. But let's start with Devin Haney. So Devin Haney has a fight coming up, and he's he's fighting.
Let's just
Um,
call him Regis. I don't want,
let's
we
call
can't
him
pronounce his
Regis.
last
Yeah,
name,
because we're gonna be stumbling over his
but
over.
Regis,
Yes.
140-pound contender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're fighting, and no disrespect to him. We just, we don't want to butcher his last
yeah,
name.
yeah.
December 9th. It's in San Francisco. And so it's a fight that I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a competitive fight, but we were talking before we started recording. This is gonna be a DAZN pay-per-view fight. Do you think this is a worthy pay-per-view fight?
For the purist that like loves boxing, I would be like, oh, dude, this is great. They're both because Regis he's not a slouch. He's
No, no,
he's
no, he's not.
he's a threat to any one of these guys, any of the four horsemen, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
If it were Ryan or Tank, Shakur, he'd be a threat. Because he's young, strong fighter, fast.
Yeah,
But neither of these guys have like that big star power X factor. And I know Haney is, undisputed and all that, but he also doesn't have that one punch knockout kind of X factor about him.
no.
So for that, it's a tough sell for pay per view. I think it's a tough sell for those reasons. If you're stoked about boxing, you're gonna be like, if it ends up being free, which doesn't look like it is, you're gonna be like, man, this is a great fight for free. But
Yeah,
as far as numbers, I don't expect it to do like amazing numbers.
yeah. I agree. I don't think it's even for the purists. I don't think it's a $84 fight. I just because this isn't the Crawford Spence fight was a good meter because that was a those two guys are not very well known outside of the boxing world. And that was one of those fights that the hardcore boxing dudes were gonna say, I'm
Yeah,
paying for that fight." Because I paid for that fight. I watched it with two friends because it was one of those things that people, oh, what are you doing? I forgot what they thought, but like, oh, I'm watching the fight. Oh, what fight? Who's fighting? And most people assumed it was UFC. They're like, no, 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 it's a boxing fight. It's actually probably one of the most anticipated fights since Canelo Triple G. And they're like, what? We've never even heard of these people. But it was, I had to buy it.
yeah,
I don't feel this at all between Haney and Regis.
oh yeah,
Like I'm
yeah,
gonna, I don't, I don't know. I have to see how much money I have in my bank account.
yeah,
If it's an 84 pay-per-view fight, I have to see how much money I have. When do I get paid next? Okay, is it worth it? Because it's December, so you got to buy Christmas gifts and all that. So
right. Maybe a little trip or something. Yeah,
yeah. So, but if it's on regular the zone, which I think that's where it should be, I'll sign up for the zone for $20 because that's what I'll do now. I canceled the zone, but if they have a fight, I'll sign up for the 1 month thing where you pay $20 and you get it for a month, and like it's worth it. I'd pay $20 to watch Haney versus Regis, but not 84. No
yeah,
way,
oh
no
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think Regis has a legitimate chance to knock off Devin Haney? You think his skills are higher than Cambosos or Jojo Diaz or Lomachenko or Linares or Gamboa? And because that's Haney's actually building up a pretty solid resume for himself.
Yeah,
Um, do you think he has the skills in the ballpark of those fighters to compete with Haney and possibly beat him?
maybe not the skills. I mean, this is the one guy that you mentioned where I'm like, absolutely not. And that's Lomachenko. Lomachenko
No.
has insane skills, but then again, Lomachenko has the size and weight and reach and all that stacked against him. What I
Right.
like about Regis is that he's young and he's at the higher weight, so you know probably gonna have more power.
Yep.
And as far as the boxing ability, he's got enough to give him fits. I think he's got enough to give him a good fight and make it close. Um, and yeah, because if you look at the guys that Haney's fought, and this is one of those things where it's like it's a double edged sword. Obviously, he does have on paper it looks like a solid little resume, but I think it also has to matter how you beat those guys. And for example, like when Haney fought like Linares, like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't look that amazing. And Linares was like I think he's like in his 40s or at least late 30s, and it's like, bro, if you're the younger, hungrier champion, you got to put those guys away. You got to show them, you got to have like Ryan Garcia knockout type numbers when you're fighting guys that are that much older and kind of over the hill. So yeah, so just the fact that Regis is in that realm as far as like age prime, he's got the weight advantage as far as him moving up. Um, I like him in this fight, you know. So yeah, because with Haney, I mean, he just hasn't looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And part of it might have to be with the weight because he does look, he looks terrible when he weighs in at 135 these days. He looks, his eyes are all sunken in and, looks like a mummy. But yeah, I think he has enough skills to give him some fits and definitely got some power. He's got some power.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it comes down to, I think Haney's more experienced, more so than anything else. And I think one of the things even though I agree that, yeah, you have to see how he won, none of those are questionable victories. He beat all those guys.
Right.
And I think that's one of those things that you got to give him props because the other guys aren't doing it. The other guys aren't fighting these guys. Ryan Garcia, Tank, Shakur Stevenson, even though he's a different case because nobody wants to fight him, but Shakur Stevenson, even Teofimo, who doesn't want to fight Lomachenko again. Those guys have had fights where we watched it. We're like, did he win? Like he kind of struggled. I'm not sure if he won that one. And that's the one thing about Haney we can't say. He's won all of those. He struggled, and I think because he doesn't have power, it's always gonna look uglier, I guess. Because he's not gonna have the flashy finish, and he's not a brawler, so he's not gonna have a Valdez type of fight where Valdez will, like Valdez's last fight, it was a good fight, it was an entertaining fight. I had it a draw, but he looked beat up, and that's because he has some pop to him that he's able to involve himself. And Haney doesn't have the pop to get in brawls like that, and I think that's where he gets dinged a little bit when he gets compared to the other fighters. But I think his experience is what should carry him in the fight versus Regis, which I think should be a good one because Regis, I think, is a formidable opponent.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah,
those
and with
things you
the
mentioned.
lack of power, I'm thinking is it going to be enough to keep Regis off of him? If he goes after him, because you like even in the Lomachenko fight, Haney was eating some shots, and obviously Lomachenko's a lot smaller, so they're not, and Lomachenko doesn't have like knockout power, but even just the little shots that he lands with the volume, you could see that Danny's head was just kind of like, oh man, he was getting
Right.
hit.
Mhm.
And so with Regis, although he's not the technician that Lomachenko is, um, if he were to catch him, I mean, he's a lot bigger than someone like Lomachenko. Some guys are saying Lomachenko should just stop fighting guys at 135 because I mean he's a lot smaller than them. And Regis, he's a big boy. So yeah, I think it'll answer some of the questions that we have about Haney. And if Haney looks good, I'm like, hey man, like, oof, dude, Teofimo, make that fight happen, you know, or Ryan if he can ever get back up there, make that's because these guys got to fight each other, man. I'm tired
Well,
of these
Ryan
games.
has to fight somebody.
Yeah, he has to fight somebody.
He's been in the Earl Spence Witness Protection Program ever since he lost to Tank. The only time I see him, he's like sitting next to Floyd Mayweather, and I'm just like,
What's going
what?
on? Yeah, what is
Like,
this?
you have a contract with Golden Boy, right? Like, yeah,
Oh man,
Like I don't understand. It's that one's funny because Ryan Garcia, you would think, I think if you're with Golden Boy, you would think of a Haney fight after you do some other fights would be very easy to make, just because they both fight on the zone. But I don't know, because Haney can't go back to fighting bums. He's gonna have to. Do we get Shakur Stevenson after this? Because that would that'd be that's a pay-per-view fight. I pay $84.
Shakur and Haney.
Yeah, I pay $84 for that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
1,000%.
But Shakur
So
kind of has to. I mean, fight a few guys at 135, and doesn't Haney want to move up from 135? I think that one. I think that was gonna take
that was gonna take a little while. They're gonna have to meet at.
yeah. But
They're gonna have to meet at 140 or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, but there's plenty of other dudes to go around. To build that resume. Did you see that little rumor about Tank and Thurman at a catchweight? Did you see that?
I did. I
Dude.
did.
My buddy sent it. I was like, "What is this? What's going on?"
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. What is the deal with people on Instagram, and like, because I'll see these boxing pages and the questions or even on Twitter where they'll be like, "Oh, is Tank going to become the face of boxing after Canelo?" Am I crazy to think that there's no chance? Like it wouldn't be Tank? Am I crazy? Like, am I missing something with Tank that others are seeing that I'm
No,
not?
no. I mean, okay. As much as I like Tank, you know, um, I think dude, that's like Floyd and like Leonard Ellerby, just like blowing smoke up. Like, dude,
Yeah,
yeah. And obviously Tank's a good fighter, but it's like, ah, man, I feel like Floyd kind of misses boxing, and him just having like Tank there is like, oh, like he's kind of living through Tank a little bit as far as like that persona of like the guy in boxing. And it's like, you've had your shot. Let Canelo do his thing until Canelo retires or like looks like terrible in a fight. It's like, no one. I don't think anyone comes close to being that kind of figure as far as like star power goes. Because obviously, like Crawford is like, pound
yeah,
for pound, amazing fighter, but someone that's like taking advantage of like all the marketing, all the hype, all the fame. I don't see anyone else like that. That's also backing it up with the boxing, to go hand in hand.
yeah. No, no, I know, but even if Canelo leaves, Canelo retires, I don't think it's Tank. Like when I see that picture, because I'll see that post and I'll be like, Tank? Like, really, Tank? Because the guy I think of is Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson's going to become the face of boxing before Tank, just because of the marketability. Who's more marketable? I'd never see Tank anywhere. He like only fights guys that are specifically made for him. And the Ryan Garcia fight was an outlier because so much pressure was being put on them to make that the fight happen. But Shakur Stevenson is the guy who's like, oh, like you watch all these ESPN fights, you're gonna see Shakur Stevenson. And so that post always is weird to me because I'm just like, I don't know if he's the face. I don't know if he would be the face of boxing once Canelo leaves, because you kind of have to be famous and marketable to be the face of boxing. Because that's the one thing about Floyd. Floyd was marketable. Floyd would go to all these basketball games and they would show him on TV. Oh, here's Floyd Mayweather. He's at the Laker game. I don't see that. To me, Tank is exactly like Bud Crawford. He's a great fighter, but he's loved by the boxing guys. I don't know if he's translating to the mainstream media, into the public, like Canelo or even like Shakur Stevenson or Floyd Mayweather for that matter.
See, but I don't really see that with Shakur. I think Shakur's talking a little more now that he's trying to make those waves. But because he is such a boogeyman, um, I think Shakur is really going to struggle in getting those big fights because the guys just know how good he is, and they're not going to want to um, risk losing. I do like that he's really vocal. Like now that he's moving up, he's like, you know what, like man, I would beat so and so. I'd be dude. That's great. I wish like Bud had done that like 4 or 5 years ago. You
But
know,
but I think but I think that's why he's gonna get those fights eventually because the money's gonna be too enticing for these guys. Where for Tank,
I think what Tank's got going for him is that he knocked out Ryan and that he's got Floyd. Those are two as far as like the social media aspect. Because when he knocked out Ryan, it was all over social media for weeks after the fact. The shot of
no,
that.
I know, but
So him, and to the untrained eye, that's why I think the boxing industry is kind of like they tried to cash in on that and be like, oh no, we have this new guy because for a while Ryan was like beyond boxing. He was massive, dude.
yeah,
You could like throw a rock out in the street and you'd probably hit someone that does know about Ryan. You know, whether they like boxing or not. You
right,
know,
right.
so Tank having knocked him out, he didn't get all of that power, obviously, because he's not as marketable as Ryan, but he got some of it. And then you got Floyd always like flaunting him and showing him. You know, I think Shakur needs someone to kind of champion him. And I think if Bud does well and Bud keeps taking big fights and winning before he retires, because they were kind of mixing it up when he knocked out Spence. I think Shakur kind of needs someone to like an older head to kind of champion him a little bit, you know? Because whenever I see him in interviews, he's always like by himself. And whenever I watch a Tank interview, they always ask about Floyd, or the other way around. Whenever they're interviewing Floyd, they always ask about Tank to
But
some
I
degree.
think, but I think that's why he's not as marketable because outs. I don't think Tank by himself can promote himself. Where I think Shakur doesn't need that. Shakur can promote himself, and I think, and maybe I see it from the other side where, for me, Tank is nobody without Floyd Mayweather, and Shakur Stevenson is Shakur Stevenson outside of whoever else, and so that's why I see it like that. You know, like I don't see it from the standpoint of he's gonna be bigger because he has Floyd, because Crawford had Bob Arum, who's arguably the best promoter in
The history.
in the history of the sport. But even Bob Arum was like, why he has to promote himself? He has to do it himself. And I think that's where I don't see this angle of Tank Davis becoming the face of boxing after Canelo because of that reason specifically. Because the only times I'll hear about Tank is because Floyd is talking about him or because he got in trouble with the law. And that's it. Where Shakur Stevenson, I'll see him like talking about other random things, about other fighters, about other fights, how he wants to do this, he wants to do that. And eventually you do that enough, and you do that on enough publications, you do that on a pay-per-view, and all of a sudden people begin to take notice, and boom, you get yourself a star. Kind of like what's his name? Golovkin. Because Golovkin needed that too. Golovkin was the
Oh yeah.
for a long time, and the money wasn't there to fight him. And then when what unfortunately for Golovkin, before the money came in, he was exposed. And that's unfortunate for him. But I think had he started off younger and he would have been moving up, I think Golovkin would have got into a level where he would have been so big. And even though, yeah, he's a boogeyman, you're gonna get a nice payday at the end.
Yeah.
Because that gets stripped away. Because even it happened. I think it's Mike Tyson was like that. Mike Tyson was the boogeyman of boogeymen. But to fight Mike Tyson, you were gonna get a good purse. So it was kind of worth getting
Worth
your
getting beat up. Yeah,
yeah.
getting your head knocked off.
Yes.
Yeah, or your ear bitten off. Yeah.
So it was worth it because of the money, and I think Shakur Stevenson could do that because he's the one that pops out. His personality just jumps out at you when you're watching him on TV more so than any of the, even more so than Ryan, because Ryan, it just seems very scripted, very he's playing a person. He's that's not who he is. Where with Shakur Stevenson, that's who he is. Well, at least that's what it comes off as.
Yeah. Well, and with Shakur, I mean, Shakur's also it's easy to be that confident when you've beaten the guys that you've beaten in the fashion that you did, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas with Ryan, we're like, yeah, you're knocking these guys out, but bro, that was like, dude, that was the custodian from like my local high school that you fought. You know what I mean? Like that, you know. And Shakur, you know, so
Yeah. That's true.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, Terrence Crawford has been making the rounds. He's he's kind of been from the Joe Rogan podcast and anywhere everywhere else. He's been talking a lot about Canelo, and he wants Canelo. He wants the 160. He wants to fight at 160. He's willing to go up. Is this do you so it's because this is like a deeper conversation because this isn't just do you think Crawford can beat Canelo? Do you think, first of all, this is all legitimate? Is this like a legit claim that he legit wants to fight Canelo, or is this because yesterday I was thinking about it and I'm like, man, like, could this just be his way of trying to garner hype for the rematch he has versus Spence? Where people begin to, oh yeah, Crawford, he's the guy that wants to fight Canelo. Oh, let me watch it because what if he fights Canelo? Because we've seen a lot of that. David Benavidez will talk about Canelo right before his fights, and people watch it, and the talk after every
yeah,
Benavidez fight is, well, I think he could be Canelo. Did you see what he did to this guy? And you're like, oh, brother, here we go.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think this is what's happening, or is this legit? Like he legit wants to go up all the way up to 160 to fight Canelo.
This is 168, right?
168, sorry. Yeah, not
168.
160, 168.
Yeah,
Sorry,
dude,
168.
that
Yeah.
man. When I saw the clip of him saying that, because okay, right after he beat Spence, and you know the way that he did, and I think he was in the ring yelling at Charlo, like, "Yo,
You're
like
next. Yeah.
yeah, you're next." And so man, and then immediately you know, online people were saying, "Oh, you know, catch rate with Canelo, you know, 160 or you know,"
No,
and
they
I
were
was
saying
like,
154, 155 or
154,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
Canelo's not gonna make
And I was like, dude, you have
155.
to like
Like,
cut off one of his, you know, one of his like feet, to, you know, yeah, man, jeez. And I thought, you know, for a catch weight, a hypothetical catch weight, I don't think Canelo wouldn't want to do it because if he were to go down that, he wouldn't feel good.
mm-hmm.
And then I thought the other way around, where if they were to fight at anything up I think any weight above 160, let's say they were to do a catch weight at 164, I would give the advantage to Canelo. Anything above 160, I would give Canelo the advantage, and I think he wins. Anything below 160 or at 160, I'm like, Canelo won't do it because he won't feel like himself. So when Bud said, "Oh, I'll do 168," if I was like, dude, is this guy for real? I was like, I don't know if he like. And people were quick to bring up the Mayweather fight and be like, "Oh, Canelo got on class." I'm like, dude, you're talking about literally 10 years ago. You're comparing a fight from 10 years ago to the guy he is now. I'm like, so part of me thinks Crawford is legit about this, just for the payday, just to say, I
Mm.
went up, I took the risks. You know what? Canelo said he wouldn't fight me unless it was at his weight. I'll do it. Big payday. Because how old is he now? 35, 36?
Yeah,
Dude, he's up
he's
there.
he's like low key Oh,
Old. He old. He's like, have you seen that clip of like Don Cheadle with Kevin Hart?
yeah.
And Don Cheadle's like, yeah, I'm 56 now. And Kevin Hart's like, damn, like, bro,
He's
that's
35. He's
dude, that's
35
us
years old.
watching Crawford now.
Yeah.
We're like, bro, like
He's 35. Yeah.
I think he's trying to cash in on some of that star power from this last fight and yeah, and just give Canelo that fight. Because honestly, I think, bro, the Spence rematch, I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. I don't think anyone wants to see that.
What about at
And then
154?
I think he gives, assuming it's Charlo or Tim, to whoever's there. I think he gives them a good, bro. He I think he'd do well.
No,
154.
but what if Spence, because Spence had to go, Spence looked kind of drained. What about 154? What if they make that fight at 154?
I mean, you could say, sure, you could say Spence has a better shot, but dude, the timing and the way
I
he
get you.
dominated
Yeah.
Spence, I just
Yeah.
don't see the weight making that big of a difference. If
No,
it was
yeah.
a close fight and Spence lost and he was like, "Yo, man, I was just really drained. I could, that'd be one thing." But in that
Mhm.
fashion, that's just like you said right after the fight, you're like, dude, like there's just a difference in levels in the
Yeah.
IQ and reflexes and
Yeah.
timing shots and accuracy of the shots.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm
yeah,
just trying to I'm
yeah,
just playing devil's advocate.
I think 154 with those guys, I just still think he still has a really good chance of winning.
Yeah.
And also, okay, a fight, if you're Crawford, what's gonna make more money? A fight with Spence at 154 or with Charlo? And that's even if Charlo beats Canelo or does well. Let's say, this weekend Canelo knocks Charlo's head off. Looks amazing. He's back. He's the guy. You guys doubted him. Dude, that's a huge payday for Crawford. Win or lose, that is like, man, that's
But
insane.
so okay, so but if you're Canelo, is that worth it for you? Because in this world, Canelo fights Crawford 168. If Canelo beats him and just uses
Ragdoll.
his body, he's
Yeah.
bigger, and it's just he just more physical. And Crawford, it's one of those like, oh man, well I don't know, and because the conversation after that would be, well, if they were to fight at
At
something
lower
with
weight.
Crawford,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just think, is it worth it for Canelo to even entertain that? Because I was, I didn't want to do the whole it's payday, and I didn't want to do that because Crawford's a great fighter, and I didn't want to place him in the standpoint of like, oh, he's just here comes another guy who's using Canelo's name to get paid. But the more I hear him talk, the more he keeps at it, the more I'm like, man, I just think you want to get paid. I just think you're using this guy's name to get a payday, because there is no. I would rather see Canelo fight Benavidez. I'd rather see that, because that's a fight that makes more sense. That's a fight that Canelo can prove himself,
Shut
or
up a lot of
continue.
doubters, a lot of
Yeah,
haters. Yeah.
if he fights Crawford, it's a great fight on paper. But I mean, he's gonna if he beats him, it's like, well, yeah, he's a bigger guy. Of course, he's gonna beat him. And then we kind of go back to all the criticism Canelo has, and I don't know if the money's worth it for Canelo, because Canelo is fine financially, and not that Crawford is like starving, but it's a different. I think Crawford, if he's serious about this, I don't think you can come out and say, I'll fight Canelo 168. I think it has to be one of those. All right, let me take a few fights at 154. Let me take a few fights at 160. Let me go up to 168. But that takes too much time. He's 35. He doesn't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
I just to me, it's not. I'd rather see Benavidez. I'd rather see him fight Benavidez. Personally,
Oh no, no, I mean me too. Yeah, you know,
because there's
but
no
but because of the age is what does it for me. Where I'm like, it's a win-win for Crawford at this age. Like it's just
exactly.
and
Yeah,
then he could just ride off into the sunset and be like, dude, 2-time undisputed. I went up and faced Canelo, and he won. But I mean, built-in excuse. He was the bigger guy. Plus, I was 35. Massive payday. Don't have to train ever again. Boom. And he can bail Bomac out of jail. You know what I mean? Like he could, So, because then if he goes the 154-pound route, that's more hard training with
yeah,
guys that
for
you know what I
sure,
mean.
for sure. But that's the
Dude,
that's
I think he's dude. I think he's setting up Canelo because for like you said, you just said right now, for Canelo, it doesn't look that enticing. Canelo has everything to lose, like just more criticism. If he does lose, it's like, wow, dude, he lost to this little guy that came up 2 divisions. When Crawford announced that, I was like, dude, he's playing chess with that call out.
see, but I don't think he beats Canelo.
Oh, I don't think so either. But
Like,
just
because
drawing
people are
that
like,
line
oh,
in the sand,
no, for
it'll
sure. But I
yeah.
think it's one of those things that I'm at a level now where if somebody brings out the way to be Canelo and they'll mention Mayweather and they'll mention Lara, I stop listening. I'm like, you know what? Like you're clearly an idiot when it comes to boxing. I don't respect your thoughts one bit. Don't talk to me. I'm not gonna entertain you. Because A, Crawford is he has a lot of skills. He's one of the most skilled boxers, but his style is not a box. It's not a defensive style. He's a very
Right.
offensive fighter with a lot of offensive skills, and all of his skills are on offense. Like his movement, he switches from southpaw to regular. Like all of that is offensively. So
Yeah.
that's one. So, and I think that's the thing where I'm like, well, Canelo's a defensive fighter first. He's a counter puncher. And this would be he would just counterpunch him because Canelo could close off the ring. Canelo has the speed. Canelo has the jaw to take his punches. Like this isn't going to be Crawford walking down Canelo, and if he's walking him down, it's like what we saw with Golovkin. If you're walking Canelo down, it's because he wants you to come to him because he wants you to let go because he wants to let go of some shots too.
Right.
So this isn't because he did this with Bivol too, where he wanted to get into a fight and he was letting Bivol and then he would try to unload. The problem with that one was Canelo's game plan was like awful. But I don't know, man. I just and maybe I don't know. I just don't see this fight as close as everybody else sees it. I'm not as like, oh man, this would be amazing. For
No,
me,
but
I'm
see
like,
that, but that's what I'm saying. That's the illusion that Bud wants to put out there.
I
Because
see.
if people think it's close, like I said, any decision Canelo takes on this,
Yeah,
it's a lose lose.
yeah,
If you win, you're gonna get criticized. If you lose, damn, dude, and then and that's if he says yes to the fight. Let's say yes to the fight, and either win or lose, it's gonna go bad for him, right? I've just accepted that anything Canelo does, people are gonna hate it.
yeah,
It's just where we're at. Um, and I think no matter what he does at this point, I don't think people will because they were already throwing Crawford up there for like pound for pound. I don't think there's anything Canelo can do anymore that's like within his grasp where he can be pound for pound number one again because of the favoritism to Crawford and being 2-time undisputed. Canelo
yeah.
would have to go undisputed at 175 to be like, and I just don't think he can do that with those guys up there. I think he can compete, but I don't know if he can just outright beat all of them, and go on that kind of campaign again.
And I don't think he should.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so again, so if he says yes to the Crawford fight 168, if he wins, he gets backlash. If he loses, damn, dude, you lost. If he says no, there's gonna be a built-in little like whisper of like, oh well, Bud said the fight, Bud said he wanted to take the fight, so that means he must think he has a chance of winning, and it gives the illusion that Bud thinks it would be a close fight because he's willing to offer it so easily. That's what I'm saying, man. I think Crawford, dude, that was a strategic move when he said I'll fight at 168. Because so many things are implied with any decision that's made.
Yeah.
If Canelo doesn't even entertain it, they're like, "Oh, are you scared to fight Crawford? Or you?" And it's like, dude, why would he be? Us, we're thinking, why would he be scared to fight him? But the average Joe walking around is thinking, "Oh, dude, he's got some guts. He wants to fight Canelo 168. He must think he has a chance to win." But.
But it goes away. It'll go away.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of Floyd's last fights, he was saying he would beat Golovkin. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I could beat Golovkin." Like he's not a boogeyman, and Floyd kind of made it seem like he was willing to fight Golovkin. And it was one I was like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. You're not willing to fight him. Because at the time, Golovkin was like at the peak. And Golovkin said, like, I would go down to 154 to fight Floyd. I'd do it. And he was young enough where he could have done it. But it was one of
Yeah.
those things that it kind of caught like wind a little bit, and people were like, "Oh, hey, like can we see this?" And then obviously he didn't fight him, and then it went away. And I think this is what this would be. It just what's interesting to me is how the goalpost gets moved for Canelo all the
Oh
time,
yeah. Yeah.
and that's the part that I'm just like,
It's annoying. It's so annoying.
like, why does the goalpost move for him? Why is it that he has to be like so incredible? Because I'll see the breadcrumbs of this whole thing where people still hold the Mayweather loss against him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but if he would have beat Mayweather, the backlash would have been, well, Floyd was already old. Like Floyd, he fought Floyd at the right time. And that's where it's like, well, I guess there's no way of winning that. There's no way he has no chance of ever getting into the hearts of these people, which gets back to one of the pods we did where we talked about how a lot of the Mexican fan base don't deserve Canelo.
They don't. Screw those guys, man. I don't like those guys.
But it's just funny to me because that's what's happening with this Crawford thing, and that's where I agree. Like Crawford played it perfectly, bringing up his name, especially on the Rogan podcast, because it's no bigger podcast than that one.
Dude, yeah.
So
it's
interesting. It's interesting how all that's going to play out.
Man.
Now, when it comes to Spence, though, should he retire? Do you think this should be it for him? Like, if you were advising him, like, say he calls you and says, "Hey, what do you think I should do?"
Man. Man. I think it comes down to what he thinks he has left in the tank, man. I mean, because obviously, if I were his friend and I knew, let's say like for that Crawford fight, if he really did give it, like he was training his hardest, giving it his all, like that was peak Spence, and he looked that bad, and it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like, I mean, if you enjoy fighting, kind of like Joshua. If you still have a hunger to go out and fight and train and do it, I'm like, and yeah, do it. But if you think you've done all you can do for the sport, you might get hurt if you go in there for the wrong reasons. If you go in there just for money, just to, you know, kind of
Yeah.
stay in the limelight a little bit. Um, I mean, because he could easily just fight, tomato cans and still, cash some checks. But if he thinks he still has some left in the tank, and let's say he does get a rematch, and I'm going to make him more competitive. Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's train. But because how old is he? 30, 33? He's not as old as Crawford, right?
He's younger than him. Let me see. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that he has to take inventory. Yeah, he's 33. He has to take inventory of
Himself.
what's inside. Yeah, like
Yeah.
do not only do I still want to do this, can I still do this?
Yeah.
Because hitting it, like, I don't know if he showed up concussed, and we talked about it last time, but he just didn't look right as soon as he walked into the ring. He looked high, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think he was high, but I mean, maybe, you never know. But and then the conversation was, he probably got concussed in sparring leading up to the fight. But I just know the guy, he just looked checked out. He wasn't there. He was like, and not to say that, I think the skill level is different between him and Bud, but
Crawford.
I don't know, man. I think it's such a different it's a different component to this fight, because I think for Earl Spence, I don't know if he beats Crawford, say he comes back, he beats him. Well, you got to fight him again, because I mean, now you're 1-1.
You won one, yeah.
And at that point, you kind of, after the third fight, you kind of retire after that. I don't see I don't see where he wants to fight after that, because at that point you've you've experienced, and you have to take into account he got into a really, really major car accident
Didn't
that
you get into
almost killed him.
two car accidents?
Two car accidents. You're right. Two car
Two.
accidents.
Yeah, man.
So
That's what I'm saying.
there's
If your heart isn't in it anymore, and it's like, just do it, bro. Just don't go in there to fight just cause. I don't know. I figure at some point these guys would want to just enjoy their life, take it easy. I don't know. Especially after the two accidents. That's nothing where it's like, dude, oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's different. Delfimo, he's slated to fight. You're saying be the week of
The same day. I think the
the
same
same
day as
day, the
the
same day of Haney, right?
yeah, I think it's like December 9th or something like that.
Yeah. Is there an opponent announced?
No, they're just saying
That would just be the date they're looking
it would
for.
it would be competing with Haney's pay-per-view if you would have them both on the same day.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting.
What do you think of him? Because he's a guy that we had, like, prior to him beating Josh Taylor, we had kind of, at least I was like, dude, I mean, you heard him in the ring. Do I still got it? Like, I'm like, bro, you're like 25. What do you mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's not like you're Aaron Rodgers and you're old, and it's like you're in your prime. Like, you should
Yeah.
be, you know, I should be able to see on your opponent's face that you do still have it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, right.
that's a question Spence should ask himself, right? But with Teofimo, he had that kind of moment where he was kind of and then he beats Josh Taylor, and now he's kind of back on this mountain, so to speak, at 140.
Yeah, Teofimo, he had a lot of hype coming up, and then it kind of just withered. I don't. He's an interesting case to study because he had a lot of he had a good following. He had a lot of power, and people are getting excited for him. And I think he's in the to me, he's in the Ryan Garcia camp of these guys that are really talented when it comes to boxing, but I don't know if they love the sport of boxing. And but because it's the only thing they know and it's how they've made money, that it's hard for them to leave it, but not because they love the sport, but because well, this has always paid the bills. So it's hard to get behind a guy like Delfimo because of that reason, because you don't necessarily get the sense that this guy
It, that it's their
love.
passion.
Yeah, it's because Ryan is in that camp, AJ's in that camp now. Of these guys that they do it because they're good, they do it because they've made a lot of money doing it. But fight to fight, you kind of don't know which guy's showing up. So you
Yeah.
can get the guy who's locked in and has a great night, or you could get the guy who just looks checked out. And interestingly enough, all three of those guys have lost fights where you're like, wow, like I thought this guy was gonna like be better today. Like I thought, and all of those guys in moments where you thought this is Cambosos versus Delfimo, and you're like, this is a huge fight. This is where you can showcase yourself. Flat. Um, Usyk versus Joshua, you can showcase yourself. Flat. Ryan Garcia versus Tank, and that one, Ryan started off energy, but it's one of those like you clearly didn't have
A game plan, a good game
a
plan.
good game plan versus this guy,
Yeah.
and you lost. And so it's interesting that all three of those guys are in the same camp for me. So to me, I'll I'll watch a Delfimo fight, but it's no longer exciting because I'm just like I don't know if this guy's into it like that.
Yeah.
It, Danny Garcia was like that too. Danny Garcia
Oh, okay. Yeah.
was. It almost felt like he became a boxer because his dad really wanted him to become a boxer. It was almost like his dad was like it was his dad's dream to become a champion, so he couldn't do it, so therefore his son had to do it.
Right,
Because
right.
you had that. Remember that Danny Garcia after that one fight where he like broke down, he was like
Oh
crying,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
and it
Yeah.
was one of those like, wow, like dude, this guy's in a dark place, and but you saw it, because his dad was like almost too into it, like dude, like calm down, like he was like the opposite of like of Oscar De La Hoya's dad.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, is this your son's dream or your dream? Like, what are we witnessing here?
Well, you kind of
Um,
get that with Delfimo too, dude. His dad is out there
you
like,
do, yes.
dude, so much BS, and I'm like, bro, you do realize he's the one fighting, not you, right? Like, why are you getting in Bill Haney's face? Like, you guys aren't gonna fight. You guys are both the trainers. Like,
Well, when no one's gonna hit punch in the face, it's easy
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's easy
You're out
to
there, yeah,
it's easy to talk crazy.
dude. Damn, dude. Yeah, that was man.
Yeah,
That's yeah,
that's so I don't know. I mean, I'll watch,
yeah, yeah.
but it's been a while since I've been excited for Delfimo. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Especially all that retirement talk, all that back and forth. I'm like, when guys do that, I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
you're stupid. Yeah,
yeah. It's yeah. I it's been a while because Delfimo. I like to I love to support athletes that love their sport. I love it.
yeah.
But whenever I get the sense where like, oh, you don't even like this, like you're not into this, like, well then why should I care about you? Why should I care about your career? Like you don't care. Like why should I care? and so that, and I think you when I think of my favorite athletes in sports history, those dudes like lived and breathed the sport, because that's what I like. I'm gonna invest my
Yeah,
time, my money, at least care, like But if you're not gonna care, well, then I'm not gonna care because,
dude, have you seen the interview with Tom Brady? I think it came out recently.
oh my god, those interviews are
Dude,
the
the yeah,
best.
he's like giving he's like a lecture kind of. He's
Yeah, yeah,
dude, he talked about like his high school years kind of, and gosh, man, what? I mean, obviously, you and I, we did a whole when he retired the first time. We did a whole episode about him.
yeah. He did it with Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, yeah, and he was
Yeah.
talking about how I mean, they mentioned this in Brady Six, but like when he did freshman football in high school, he didn't even start. He was the backup
Mm-hmm.
on his team, and the team was terrible. They won like 0-10 or something.
Yeah,
And then the next year, he only became the starter because the last guy had quit. The starting quarterback had quit. And then, but in this interview, he mentioned how he his dad kind of supported him and like told him, hey, if you want to get better and you want to go to camps and whatnot and learn from people, I'll support you in that. And he mentioned that he got together with like some junior college coaches and then and built himself up. And then when he went to Michigan, he's like, dude, I was seventh on the depth chart at quarterback, and beat out Drew Henson and all these. And I was like, what? So yeah, just and part of it was he said I was just too naive to know that how bad I sucked when I was really young, and so I just wanted to get better. I didn't know
yeah,
how bad I was, so I just always stayed hungry and stayed a student of the game. And I was like, wow. So,
yeah.
yeah, hearing that kind of guy talk about sports, it's like, oh my gosh, or like Canelo, like the whole like no boxing, no life. It's like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah. Well, even the clip where Brady talks about like anger and why it's good. He's like, "What does it?" And
oh
you're like,
yeah,
"Bro, I'm ready to
oh
go off with this guy, bro." Like,
dude, yes, yes, oh
but I think that's the stuff that you don't see. And boxing is or fighting in general is one of those things that becomes even more evident, more clear because it's just you.
right, right,
And I think that's where it becomes the support comes to the dudes that are all about it, and that's what they're into it. Like I listened to the Francis Ngannou fight interview he did with Rogan, and I don't know. I came out of that interview like, I mean, I never had an opinion on Francis Ngannou, but it was one of those things like, okay, you're just a big guy with a lot of power. Like, okay, cool. And now you're just trying to catch checks. That's like, obviously he has a big backstory. He was homeless, the whole thing. But like when it boiled down to it, like it wasn't his struggle didn't make him fall in love with the sport.
right, right.
Like it wasn't like
He's
Manny
yeah,
Pacquiao, wasn't like any of those guys, or even like Mike Tyson, who had like a rough, horrible life. They fell in love with the sport of boxing and it changed their lives. This is a guy who was found by somebody was like, dude, you're a big guy, maybe you should try this. Oh wow, you have a lot of power. Oh dude, you can get paid for this. And then all of a sudden, like, he became who he became. And I was kind of like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
yeah. Well, and Ngannou's he's one of those guys that like he the sport was just a vehicle to a better life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
whereas some of these guys like they fall in love with it and then they say to themselves, well, I want to be the greatest of all time. I want to be like Canelo always talks about history. I want to make history.
yeah,
And for Ngannou, it's like, dude, I don't have to like dig trenches in like Cameroon anymore.
yeah,
Like, thank God.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is two different perspectives, but it is interesting. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
about just how those guys get to where they end up getting to mentally.
Right. Oh
Um,
wait, dude, did you? Oh, we should have. Winning Time. Did you finish Winning Time?
I couldn't watch it. I could like it was one of those reading because I've read that book, the book the of
Like the
where the
Lakers
show's
dynasty.
based on.
Yeah,
It's just so hard to it's hard to see that show when it's like, dude, that didn't happen, man. That's not how that
oh
happened.
yeah,
Some of it,
yeah.
and it's some of the stuff, but it is. I saw like there's like this YouTube thing where they show you kind of like the hits because I know you and I had talked about it. So I saw
Yeah.
how it ended and stuff. Uh, interesting. It was an interesting,
Well, okay.
interesting
What
so
did you
far.
think? Did you watch any of the clips that showed like Larry Bird's character and the guy that
I
portrayed
did.
him?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, what did you think of him and how he portrayed Larry Bird?
Well, they kind of made Larry Bird out to be like this.
Like the villain.
Yeah.
And not to say okay, because I've also seen like the documentaries about Bird and
Hmm.
Magic and whatnot, and
Yeah.
like Larry definitely has like that kind of stoic, dry personality.
Hmm.
But I feel like they just dialed it to like 9 or 10 for the show, where I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to make him
Mm.
the villain. But I with Larry, I also always kind of got the sense that like he I don't know, because obviously he is like an all-time great, but he just loved playing basketball because he just loved playing basketball. Like he didn't care about any of the money or any of that. And
Right.
then
Right.
when he messed up his back, like did you hear about how he messed up his back later on?
Hmm.
It was because
Yeah.
he was doing his driveway himself and didn't want to hire someone to do it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, why would you just hire someone to do that? But that's the kind of guy he is. He's just like,
Like Larry, you are a millionaire. You do know
yeah,
that.
you could get that easily. So
Yeah.
but it's funny how Larry like still cared about winning. Like he still, I mean, I don't think he would ever come out and say like, I wanted to be the best, but he wanted to win or he wanted to be Magic. He still wanted to win. And
Hmm.
and it's funny because I don't get that kind of vibe with him where it's like that Brady kind of mentality, but he still put up those kinds of numbers and still wanted to win. He just wasn't as like vocal about it and as like good of a communicator, I guess. I very
Yeah.
much got like the farm boy kind of vibe where he's just like it was just an opportunity for me to go to school and then buy my mom a house and this and that.
You know what's interesting though about that? Whenever you see interviews of the old dudes, they didn't back in the day, they didn't a lot of them, because some of them did. They didn't really have the mentality to for of that. Like weren't thinking, I want to do this to be the best ever. It was almost
Yeah,
like their thought process, I just want to beat my contemporaries. Because
yeah,
like Jordan never said like, oh, I want to be the greatest. And there's like after after a game, they asked him, and he's saying that to say that he's the greatest would be a disrespect.
the different eras, right? He mentioned the different
Yeah.
eras. Yeah,
And so
yeah,
you kind of get this like mentality with a lot of the older guys where that was their mentality. Their mentality was, um, I just want to beat my competition.
right.
And even in boxing, Muhammad Ali was an outlier, but every like even in boxing, there was never this idea or this push. I want to be the greatest. I just want to beat whoever is around me.
Whoever you're talking about, whoever, yeah,
Yeah, because even Brady mentions that in that interview we just mentioned, like where he says, I never said I wanted to be the greatest ever. Like I just wanted to be the best I can be. And he mentioned that, and he even talked about like playing up to 45 because the guy asked him like, did you want to be past Jordan? And he said, I never like was like, oh, I'm gonna play. I want to get 7 Super Bowls. He just wanted to keep playing for the love of it. So I think that's interesting that like that portrayal of Larry Bird, because Larry Bird was a beloved teammate. Whenever you like will read
Right.
the stuff or see the documentaries, but they did portray him like this, like almost like this crazy white guy.
Yeah, yeah. And like even in like the Last Dance, right, with Jordan,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
anytime Jordan went after somebody, it's because somebody somewhere mentioned just how great that person was.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
you think he's the MVP? Oh, you think he's the defensive player? Oh, I'm gonna show you otherwise. I'm gonna, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I will say though, because have you watched the New Heights podcast, like Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey?
I've seen clips of it. Yeah.
Dude, it's amazing. I love that podcast. They're so funny. But they had Julian Edelman on, right?
Yeah.
And they were asking him about like when he first got to the Patriots, when he went to Kent State, um, when he first started working out with Brady, and Brady started actually like trusting him to come out and work out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that I think they lost to the Broncos in the AFC Championship because
Yeah.
of Peyton Manning,
Mm-hmm.
and they started training in February. And Julian said that he had like the location of the next year's Super Bowl on his whiteboard. And he said that when he first started working out, I think he only had 3 Super Bowls at the time when he really started getting into the groove of working together. And I think so again, this could be paraphrasing, this could be Julian just um, being dramatic. But
Yeah.
he told Brady, "I'm gonna help you catch Montana. I'm gonna." And he said that Brady said, "I'm not going after Montana. I'm going after Jordan." And that's when he had 3. So it's like, bro, like, and then so that's to get like the 7th. So
Yeah.
I do think Brady likes to just play nice in some of those bigger interviews, because I can imagine having 7 when you're behind closed doors. You're like, dude, I'm the GOAT. But if you were to ask him in an interview, he'd be like, because even Brady will say, oh, no, I'm not the GOAT. He likes to be a little modest. But I can imagine, like, did you see him at that Bucks parade? He was like
Yeah.
hammered. I
But
bet he was living that up, dude.
but I think to me that makes sense though, because if Brady walked around saying, "Yeah, I'm the best, I'm the greatest," yada
Yeah.
yada yada, it's one of those things like it's just so classless, Like we know it, dude. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that. It's I think it almost comes with the territory, and I think it's why someone like LeBron, who's constantly campaigning, and all his minions are constantly campaigning for him to be the greatest. And it's almost like if you have to tell me, then are you really the greatest? Because I can just see it. Like if you have to constantly tell me how great you are, you're probably not the greatest thing then. Because greatness is seen. You can see the greatness of a person, of an athlete. And so I think that's one of those things with Brady where it's a lot like Michael Jordan, where Michael Jordan doesn't walk around saying those things. Or even Kobe. Kobe, after he was done playing, there was a lot of like where he was like, well, other guys are next, and I just tried to be the greatest I can be. But there's a lot of documentation where he was legit trying to become the greatest basketball ever. But I think with age, you kind of become
You know when
the
to tuck it in.
understanding of it.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because nobody, almost, nobody really wants to hear it unless you're a Pats fan. Nobody wants to hear how great you are because you and I were talking about this. I'm wearing a 49ers shirt, and you and I have talked about how you love when the Niners lose because I'm a wreck. So just from the standpoint of like me gloating, and I'm a nobody. I'm a random guy from Huntington Park. But imagine if Tom Brady was constantly on Twitter like, "Oh, Mahomes has 7. That's nice. He has 2. I have 7. That's so nice, so nice for him."
Yeah,
It'd
yeah,
be like, dude, like what a dick. Like
yeah, yeah,
like you know what, Tom? Like we hate you, bro. Like
yeah, yeah.
so you kind of have to play it differently. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that he kind of has to dial it down because you'll have Julian Edelman who will share the stories. When because I saw that story with when he shared that, but
Yeah.
it didn't come off as Brady like being arrogant. It was like, oh man, that's why he's the best. Like that
Right.
mentality. But if Brady shares that story, it's like, okay, dude, like so cheesy.
Calm down. Yeah, yeah.
Like
Settle down.
two different sports, bro. Like
Yeah,
but Edelman says it for him, and it's like, yeah, Tom was a goat, and I
yeah.
just think it plays better. LeBron James needs better PR. He needs
Oh, dude. Okay, I remember when you were doing uh it was still like the Arrows Up podcast, and you guys had a guest on.
oh the Brute Thoughts podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The brute thoughts, and you guys were doing like the go in each sport one,
Oh, I
and you
remember
got to
that.
LeBron, and you were the one guy that was pushing back on the LeBron GOAT
Yeah.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I can't remember the guy's name, but
Joseph.
sure,
It
yeah,
was
you would
Joseph.
know.
Yeah.
But you were naming I think his argument was that like you could put LeBron at like any position or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
He
He
could play
was
one
doing
through
the
five.
stats and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then your like retort to that was like, oh, do you think he's better than like Shaq or whatever the big man was, or this guy or this guy or this guy? And I will say this because dude, I was like the biggest LeBron hater. I was the guy in high school
Mm-hmm.
saying when he had no rings, I was like, this guy's never gonna win a ring. This guy is no, like, bro, you think he's better than
Yeah.
Kobe? Absolutely not.
Right.
Um, but I noticed that whenever you named someone to Joseph, his answer was, look at all the guys you have to compare LeBron to at each position to make the case, and LeBron's just the one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck out to me because I was like, man, okay, obviously he's not the best center, but he's center like in the way he plays the game, or him, playing forward or guard. It's like he might not be like the guy at that position, but he's comparable to each of those guys, even if he's not the best one at that position.
No, there's
And
no
that and
way.
no, but that did something to me because I was like, man, like
Yeah.
he's superhuman as far as like being a specimen. He's
Right.
an
Right.
odd duck in that regard. I've heard guys like on Joe Rogan talk about him. They're like, the difference with LeBron is that sure he is that big and he is that strong, but if you compare him to the big guys, he might be just a step faster than all those guys. And most guys aren't normally that fast if they're that big. Like I think a guest of Joe Rogan said that he hung out with Carlos Boozer,
Mm-hmm.
and Boozer's like, I'm the same size as LeBron, but he's just this much faster than me when we're out on the court, and you just don't see that with someone that large. And I was like, that's when I was like, okay, he's got some cred in my book. He's. Plus, then he went on to win championships. He went on to win more
Right.
championships, and then
Right.
this old playing the game, this well. And I'm like, all right, okay, he gets some kudos.
Well, I think the one thing LeBron will have, and I think what the argument will probably should be, if you're a LeBron guy, your argument shouldn't be whether LeBron is better than Jordan. The argument needs to be whether LeBron had a better career than Jordan. Because I think that's where LeBron is at. LeBron is with Kareem. I mean, Magic maybe, but Kareem for sure. Just because of all the college stuff. But it's one of those things that the argument needs to be LeBron had the greatest career of all time. And now because now he beats Jordan in that because he's played 20 years, all the accolades, everything else. But in terms of the sport, it's to me the argument LeBron versus Jordan. It's the argument of Brady versus Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning more naturally gifted than Tom Brady. There's no argument.
Oh yeah, I could pick several QBs. Yeah, I mean
Peyton
Aaron
Manning,
Rodgers. I would put.
but Peyton Manning specifically, because Peyton Manning he was the prototype. He was the same type of quarterback like Tom Brady,
Right.
and for a long time had better stats than Tom Brady. And if you were making the Brady argument, the Brady argument wasn't stats. The Brady argument was the intangibles. Now, Brady played long enough where he was able to get a lot of the stats too, but it's the intangibles. Because if someone says I'd rather have Peyton Manning than Tom Brady, their argument is, well, he's naturally better. If you put him with Bill Belichick and you give him everything, he wins as much. I don't think that's true, but that's the LeBron thing. The LeBron thing, well, if you give him Phil Jackson, if you give him Scottie Pippen, without realizing LeBron's played with a bunch of all NBA guys. But the argument for Jordan is the intangibles. He had it. When it came down to winning, he won. And that's stuff you can't measure on the box score. You can't measure that. You can't measure Brady's first 3 rings on the field because a lot of it was just his mentality that he wasn't going to lose. He was going to beat Peyton Manning, who was regarded before Brady's 3 Super Bowls as the better player. So that's the argument right there. But yeah, Joseph won the argument with the people because he threw all these stats, and obviously, no disrespect to the listeners, but a lot of them don't watch basketball. So, you throw a bunch of numbers at them, they're like, "Oh, well, he does have more points, and he does have more of this, and oh man, he has as much blocks as Shaq. Oh man, he must be good." And you're like, "Oh my god, okay." So I took the L in that argument, but it was one of those like, "Oh man, like you don't watch basketball." So I lost that one, but it's very interesting. That's a very interesting argument. But I think LeBron's thing is going to be his career. He has a way better career, not way better, but his argument is going to be, I had a better career than MJ, which could be true. I don't know. We'll see how it ends.
Okay, all right. I'm just
That's
gonna
where it's at. But if
tuck
Steph
that in my
Curry
back
wins
pocket
5,
for
if
later.
Steph Curry wins 5, that's what it becomes.
Really? Wait, hold on. No, but okay, hold on. But the thing with I mean LeBron against MJ is or even with Brady and Manning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you could say when Brady had 3 and Manning had just had the 1, you could say he has more numbers, but Brady's numbers were still comparable. He was still putting up, he was still in contention with the stats, so to speak. But when it came down to it, at least for where it's kind of different is that Jordan did have the stats and did win 6. So it's like he can win and he puts up numbers, right?
Not only that, but one of the things that gets forgotten, and I mentioned this on that pod, but of course I lost the argument. So I lost the argument in that pod, not in real life. But LeBron has needed 20 years to do what Jordan did in like 14. Jordan took almost 2 years off. He went to college. So Jordan enters the NBA older, plays less, and LeBron has needed an entire like 15, 16 year career to get to those numbers. And I think that gets taken away. That Jordan, in a tougher league with the rules, not with the competition, because LeBron's played with better against better competition, but the rules.
Right.
Jordan did all that in less time than LeBron. And I think that's the part that gets missed. Because yeah, LeBron, of course, you play long enough, you're gonna have amazing numbers. It's why people, one of the most overrated guys, in my opinion, is Drew Brees. But Drew Brees played long enough, and the league became easy enough for quarterbacks, where you look at the stats, and Drew Brees is in the top 15, 10 in a lot of the stats. Now, I saw Drew Brees' career. Drew Brees was good, but I'm naming 15 guys, 20 guys before I get to Drew Brees all time. But if you look at the stats, you think, oh man, this guy must be top 10 quarterback all time. But that's not the case. And that's one of LeBron has played so long and has been healthy for so long that he's achieved the numbers that Jordan achieved in less time, because Jordan played, I think it was like 14 years in the league, but you got to remember, one of those, his rookie year, he was out most of the year his second year, because he broke his foot. So it's one of those things. What Jordan has done in the time he played is incredible. Incredible. But that's, LeBron's just looks physically more imposing, and his numbers are eye-dropping. So the details get lost in them. I'm still petty that I lost that argument too, as you can see.
I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you in that argument.
I think of that argument. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll think of it, like I'll be driving, or I'll be falling asleep, or I'll be on the train.
I've been there.
And I'll be like, damn it, why didn't I say this? Why did
I could have said this. Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
And I hate it. because that podcast isn't even active anymore. But I think of that I want to have him on just to have that,
bro,
just to do it again, just so that I can say, you know what? No, he's almost like my Bivol. What Bivol is to Canelo, that guy in that argument is to me. Like, you caught me on the wrong day. I didn't really show up prepared, but I lost. So so I admit it. Like, yeah, he won that argument, but God, it haunts me, as you can see. I'm not over it.
I'm glad I could reopen that wound. I'm sorry.
This is the psycho I am. I think of that argument that I lost.
No, dude, I'll do that too with past argument. Or, dude, bro, you ever because you worked in the service industry,
yeah.
You ever think about past scuffles with a customer, and you're like, bro, I could have said this. I could have.
Oh yeah.
I'll do that, dude. I'm like, that guy was being a douche. I'm like, why didn't I say this instead of that?
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh, dude, I love hitting them with that's the policy. It is what it is. If I get the manager, he's gonna say the same thing that I'm telling you. Oh.
The one that I I wish I could do it without getting in trouble. It's, you're making someone's, because I work at Starbucks, and you're making somebody's drink, and somebody will be like, oh, I didn't want X.
Oh, that's not my drink. That's not my drink. And it's like, bro, this isn't your drink.
And you're just like, okay, what did you get? What's your name? Oh, Kevin? Yeah, this is for Carol. Like, shut up.
This is for Sarah. Yeah.
This isn't even your drink, dude. Like,
yeah. Dude.
And that's the one that I wish I could say, but obviously,
Yeah. Oh, dude, I have to send you some TikToks.
It's just so dude, this isn't for you, bro.
Yeah.
Or oh, hey, I didn't want that. Did you order this? No. Then shut up.
Then this isn't your drink.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
Yeah. It's annoying. It's so annoying. But yeah, I think of that argument a lot. But Up to happy things. Canelo fights Saturday versus Charlo. How do you see this? How do you? So let's start here. How do you? So you said you feel good about the fight. You feel
I feel good.
confident. What are some? Is there anything that makes you nervous for this fight?
Um, I guess if he feels great at that weight, having trained and like his body can just like with his genetics, if he just feels good having moved up,
Charlo, right? Charlo.
Charlo,
Okay.
yeah. Because the thing about these guys, I mean, and you see it in all combat sports, like guys are just they like to be weight bullies. They like to be, you know, this height, this weight naturally, but when they get to a division they think they can dominate because of their um, you know, height and reach and all that, they like
Mm-hmm.
to make the sacrifice. I mean, you saw with like Conor McGregor did that at 145. He looked terrible when he would weigh in, but the biggest criticism guys would say when they would see him at press conferences moving forward after he fought in that division, they would say, "Dude, you fought a bunch of like midgets. You fought a bunch of little guys." Um, and so if Charlo feels like amazing at 168, um, with his ability and his size, that would be worrisome. But I mean, we still don't know if his chin will be able to withstand Canelo's power. And then if he just doesn't feel good at that weight, then I mean, more power to Canelo. But that worries me a little bit. As far as like his ability itself, like the boxing skills, I I feel good. I feel pretty good. Because we've seen other guys give him fits at 154. And even if he did look better in the rematch, still, that those are recent fights. It's not like you're talking about fights from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. There are fights that happened 2 years ago, a year ago. So yeah, so I feel pretty good. What about you? Oh, I don't think your mic's on.
Yikes. I
Yeah,
feel good. I feel good in that fight because I feel like it's a fight that Canelo matches up really well with him because I think it's we're getting back to I like when Canelo fights bigger guys because Canelo has to focus and use his skills, which I think it's his biggest asset. And I get more nervous when he's fighting guys his size or guys that are smaller than him or guys that he overlooks because then I feel like he kind of thinks, oh, well, I'm just naturally better, so I'm going to beat him. But he looks focused. He looks like he's been really in the lab for this one. And Charlo does look big. Charlo looks healthy, but Charlo's naturally a bigger guy. So with more weight, he's going to look better. And this to me looks like one of those fights where he's a champion, he's fought dudes. You're getting in the ring with someone with a very different skill set. This is a lot like Spence versus Crawford. Well, you're good, and the dudes that you fought with in the neighborhoods where you fought them, that's a good neighborhood because you're the top guy in that skill set of neighborhood. But you're coming into the best boxing neighborhood there possibly is.
right.
So can you? I don't. I just don't think his skill set is gonna.
Be enough.
No, I don't see it. I haven't seen a fight of Charlo where I'm like, oh man, this guy's showing
Yeah,
flashes,
yeah,
and that's where if he's leaning on his height and how big he is, because I seen his trainer and him talk about just
right.
the size advantage. And I'm just like, oh man, have you not seen Canelo fight anybody? Like,
They're all
size
bigger.
advantage.
Yeah.
Like that. That's where that's what you're talking about. Like your size. So I don't know. I think it's I think Canelo. It's tough to say that it's a coming up party when Canelo's like a super duper star, but it almost feels that way. Like this is gonna be like a coming out party for the PBC people, um, and all the people that don't think he's as good. So I'm not as excited to read all the well Charlo wasn't really that good, or he fought the Charlo
Yeah.
that's less talented. I'm not excited to read that stuff, but um
I just want to at Bud after the fight and be like, yo, I thought you said Canelo didn't fight black fighters. What's going on? You know, like what? Yeah.
I'm excited for that part of Twitter.
Dude,
Just
yeah,
oh my
bro.
god, that's gonna
I might
be
even scroll back on his account and look for that specific tweet and then just like,
oh my
oh,
god.
I am ready.
Man, that's gonna
So ready.
be yeah, that's gonna Twitter's gonna have to do some
Some deep
cleaning up.
diving into those
Yeah,
old
oh my
tweets.
god, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly.
Do you think it goes 12 or you think he knocks him out? He knocks out Charlo.
I think if he I think he knocks him out late.
Like
Because
11th?
yeah, because Charlo's a big guy, and
Yeah.
Canelo is very wise with, unless it's one of those like complete like Canelo's like clearly on a different stratosphere, which I think he is, but because of his height, I want to respect his chin a little bit, just because you would think he can hold up if other dudes Canelo's fought of similar build have held up. I don't see why he wouldn't hold up. Just because I once you get to like 168, 160, 168, 175, knockouts happen, but when guys are big like that, they're you don't see knockouts really early like that unless some guy
Yeah.
is like gets caught big time.
Right.
But I think it's a late. I think he knocks him out late because I think his
Yeah.
eventually the skill set will be too much. That I think
Yeah.
he knocks him out late. But if he knocks him out early, Black Twitter might log out of Twitter for really early. Because if it's like if it's like a fifth round knockout,
Bro.
if the same way you couldn't find
They're
Cowboy
gonna be like
fans on
SpongeBob, like,
Twitter,
all right, I'm heading out. I'll see you
yeah,
guys later.
the
Like,
same
that's
way
it.
you couldn't find Cowboy fans on Sunday after they lost to the Cardinals, and it's like, where are all the Cowboy fans? All
Bro,
these
they
like,
fade into that grass like Homer,
yeah,
dude.
you're gonna see if that happens, you're gonna see like all these guys who were like, oh, Canelo doesn't fight black fighters. They're gonna like log out of X and be like, oh, I don't know, I had problems logging in. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think I lost my password.
So I
Dude,
don't know,
I got the wrong
man.
username.
So yeah, it should be. It should be. I think I'm as excited for the Twitter stuff as I am for the fight, just because it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be
Dude.
insane.
Receipt Central, man. Receipt Central. They're gonna be out there like, what happened? Exhibit A. What happened here? Crawford, what were you saying?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Okay, who? Because he has a 3-fight deal.
Yeah.
Who do you want him to fight? That's under PBC.
Charlo, obviously. I wanted to fight both Charlos and Benavides.
Really? Okay.
Is there anybody else I'm missing? Because it was what it was supposedly Spence. I don't want to see that.
Isn't Boo Boo under PBC?
Oh my god. Um, he is. He is.
Is he still? He's still alive. He's still alive, right? He's
He's
still
still
he's
kicking,
still.
and he's still in Rhode Island somewhere.
Dude,
Um, I mean,
I would want him to fight him over the other Charlo.
okay, yeah,
The
yeah,
other
okay.
Charlo needs a few fights under his belt for me to, to see that he's fully back.
So Charlo, Boo Boo, and Benavides.
Or Benavidez and then Boo Boo, then boom,
No,
retired.
no, no, but those three.
Yeah,
It'd be those three.
those three. Yeah, yeah. And then because see, once he beats Boo Boo, then we can pull up the payday. You want paid? Like we can pull up those receipts and be like, "Oh, you're not so bad now, huh?" Pulling up to his little post-fight press conferences with your dad. Like, dude.
What I want to see, actually, that's a good one. I
And
agree.
Boo Boo, I think would be like early round stoppage. Like, bro, what did you think was gonna happen? Like when you got in there with him, Because Boo Boo stays swinging wild, dude. When he fights, I'm like,
What's what would be funny though is the what would be funny would be what's always funny to me is the guys that talk a lot of crap and they lose, they're always the biggest huggers.
at the end, yeah, they're always like
And
bring it
it's
in,
just like when what's his name when Garcia talked all that smack about Tank, and then at the end Tank was like, "Oh, he asked me if we could be friends," and I was like,
exchange phone numbers,
and you're
like,
just like, dude, like get a grip, bro, get a grip.
dude,
Um, yeah, I mean that's a good one.
yeah,
Those three you mentioned, I'm down for that. But outside of that, I don't know.
yeah.
And outside of that, does Canelo retire?
Oh, okay. So when he did the Breakfast Club interview, he said he wanted to fight. I think at the time it hadn't been his birthday yet or whatever, like, 'cause I think he's now 33, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he said, dude, I think he's adamant on fighting until he's 37. I think that's the age.
Why
Because you said
37?
5 years. I don't know, but that's just that. If you look at his interviews over the last couple of years, because the
That's what
answer will
he's.
change depending on how, each year when they interview him. But when he was like 30, 31, he's like, oh, I want to fight for like another 6 or 7 years. And then like nowadays, it's like, oh, another 5 years. And it's like, it always adds up to 37. He always wants to fight, till that age.
Hmm, interesting.
And I think he hit, even in that Breakfast Club interview, he said he wanted to try fighting again at 175. And I'm like, let's let's calm down. Let's, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean I would entertain fights at 175, but not like, you know, undisputed, all the champs, you know. I would think he'd want to, with this PBC deal, he'd want to fight, whoever is available at 168, Benavidez, maybe the other Charlo or Boo Boo or whoever, I don't know, maybe David Morrell, I don't know,
Hmm.
Berlanga, even Berlanga. And then, oh, hey, Bibble's still a champ at 175. Yeah, take the fight with Bibble. Sure. Let's, you want to get your revenge, go ahead. But I don't see who else he fights, man, unless he's making more of these like crazy fights.
Unless he begins to just fight outside of Vegas, because then you
Oh,
can just pick whoever.
yeah.
You go to Saudi Arabia, you fight some guy there, and the Saudis will pay you a bunch of money. You go to Wembley and you fight some English fighter there, and then because he's
Yeah.
talked about that too, like fighting around the world. You do a fight in Japan, and you expose yourself to those people, to that fan base over there. So all of a sudden, he begins to become almost like Manny Pacquiao, like this global boxing star who gets paid to fight around the world.
Yeah.
So at that point, he becomes like an ambassador almost. So that's interesting. But we both feel good. We both feel good about the fight. We both feel like he's
He's driven. He's
prepared.
focused.
Yeah. And Charlo just he's big, but he just doesn't have the skills to compete and be there.
Yeah. Dude, what do
So
you think of Oscar? What do you think of Oscar hating on
Oscar,
Canelo? Since we're gonna get into his documentary as well.
yeah. What do I think of his what?
I mean, I think he and Bernard are saying that they think Canelo's gonna lose.
Bernard Hopkins?
I think so.
Really?
And since they're both a Golden Boy, it's like, I mean, they're just being
Wait,
haters.
I thought he said that Canelo should knock him out. That's what I thought I saw. Um, I don't know. It's hard to take anything De La Hoya says about Canelo seriously because you obviously know he's like super biased. So I don't know. It's hard to take him serious.
Or okay, Bernard Hopkins says Jermel Charlo contest will prove if Canelo is declining. All right, so it's a little different, but still,
But I think that's true though. I think if Canelo struggles versus him, it becomes a conversation. Okay, like has he lost it a little bit? Because Charlo, he should be Charlo, no question. When you and I record after after the fight, and Canelo loses, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, we could see it coming. It would be like, what? Like really? Or if he struggles, if it's like a close fight, that would. So I do agree with that assessment. That if Canelo does
yeah,
struggle, it is going to be a conversation of, man, he has slowed down.
yeah,
So, but I thought Oscar had said like Canelo should win. Um, but maybe he changes his stance a lot on
like
things.
every other day. Yeah,
So he probably has said something else. Um, let's do
the Golden Boy.
the Golden Boy doc, the two-parter. I told you to watch it. I thought it was a good watch.
It
Right?
was.
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it. It gave a lot of insight into his life and career,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, some perspectives. Things I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting watch. Yeah.
Yeah. What was there something that stood out to you more than other things?
Man, the level of like dysfunction and decline behind the scenes over the years.
Mm,
Especially once he was a little bit older, and like when he fought Pacquiao,
yeah.
right? Some of the guys around him were saying, Pacquiao, that's ridiculous. You're going to destroy him. He's so much smaller than you, and this and that. And then he loses to Pacquiao. And I think he mentioned it in the documentary, but even because I saw he did a Breakfast Club interview also as well, and he was talking about how training for that fight, he was getting beat up in sparring. Like he couldn't spar as much because he was actually just taking a beating in sparring.
Yeah.
And that was the case for like just later in his career. Like he just, he had this strange relationship with boxing, and he talks about it when he was young, where he was like, I think at one point he said it was, I mean, it was me versus me in there. It wasn't always me and the opponent. It was me just fighting off my demons, and me, and boxing was
Mm-hmm.
kind of that vehicle for him to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it obviously early on. You didn't see it early on, and the way they spun the whole story about his mom and how that wasn't
That
even
was
true.
wild. That was
That was
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
And how, I mean, he said, he's like, yeah, they just made that story and
Just
I
ran
just
with it.
decided to run with it. I just ran with it. And, you know, he was like on Jay Leno, like doing all these interviews and all that. And that he was like, I think like even like the president like was talking about him and all this stuff and about his mom. And it's like, you know, and just living with that lie. That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out to me was his how skilled he was, how good he was, and
Yeah.
everything he left on the table because of all the extracurricular activities that I saw after that documentary. I went back and I rewatched the Mayweather fight because I remember watching it at the time thinking like, man, this
Yeah.
was close. Mayweather won, but it was close. And I do think we would remember De La Hoya different if he didn't have those vices, which is unfair. It's unfair because everyone has the things that take them there, and I think to say that obviously is unfair. But I think speaking just specifically about sports, he left a lot on the table, and watching that documentary kind of confirmed that, where he left
Yeah.
so much that he could have accomplished, which is crazy to say because he accomplished a lot. Like
So much. Right.
he's
Yeah.
he's a he's a great success story. So,
Yeah.
what'd you think of his relationship with his father?
I, dude, I wasn't surprised
Mm,
because I mean, okay, obviously you and I both being, you know, Mexican, being Latinos,
yeah,
um, and for you, I think you grew up like with a stepdad, right?
yeah, mm-hmm,
Um, I would say I have a good relationship with my dad, right?
yeah,
But there are
right,
definitely things where it's like I wish they were better, or I wish we were a little more open to talking about
mm,
certain things, how you deal, you know, how you deal with things in life, etc. Watching
yeah,
Oscar with his dad, I was like, man, I could tell what kind of relationship they had just based on how the dad was speaking during the
yeah,
documentary.
right,
And it's funny, like you said, he left a lot on the table. That was one of the things his dad talked about near the end of it. He was saying,
mm-hmm,
man, if Oscar had really, really trained and given it his all, he would have been like an all-time great kind of thing.
yeah,
And at the time when I was watching that, I was like, dude, that's really all you have to say about your son and his career. And just, you know, now there are some things where I'm like, I got to give him the dad some slack because obviously the problems that Oscar had as far as like dealing with fame and money and, like you said, extracurricular activities. I don't know how much experience his dad has in that field. I mean, how do you deal with like that level of fame and all that kind of stuff?
right,
But
yeah,
there are other things that I think his dad could have offered some insight on, like even the part about just being like a better dad to your kids. That threw me for a loop. Like when he was with like that first serious girlfriend and they were gonna have the baby,
mm-hmm,
and then boom, two other chicks pop up and say, "Hey, we're also pregnant with like your babies."
yeah,
And then bam, Oscar's got three kids with like different women. Um, and and then when they interview the kids too, like one of them was like, "Yeah, I'd see him like once a year at my Chuck E. Cheese birthday party."
mm-hmm,
And in my mind, I'm thinking like, dude, if I were to do things like that, like I can already imagine like what my dad would tell me as far as like, dude, like be accountable, be responsible, be a man, be a father to your kids, you know? And so yeah, I can imagine his dad might not have said things like that because it's like, how do you say that to someone that's like on top of the world? If you're Oscar De La Hoya and you have all this money, all this fame,
mm-hmm,
who can tell you what to do? You
right,
know? But I
mm-hmm,
think if there's a better relationship with his father, then you can have that level of comfort where you can say those kind of things. It's kind of like when you keep your friends in check and you gotta have to tell them a hard truth.
yeah,
You can do that because you have a good relationship with them. And I think it's like that with like parents and parents telling their kids things. If you have a good relationship with them, it's easier to bring up those kind of topics because there's a level of respect there. you know. And I don't know if they have that kind of relationship. It seems like it seems purely transactional. Oh, you're gonna box, and I love you because you box, and you're gonna be great, and we're gonna give you all this support. And for Oscar, he's just thinking, well, I want love and support, but I only get it when I knock dudes out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna knock dudes out, and then when problems do arise, I'm just gonna run. And who's gonna help him with those things? So, and even with his mom too, like, I mean, it's, I mean, obviously, I'm sure his parents do love him, and his mom did love him, but it doesn't seem like they were able to just, open up about those kind of things. And you see that more and more with people that just don't have good relationships, like with their parents.
Yeah. But I think that what's tough is that it's his dad was there though, because Oscar lost his mom for sure, but the guy lost his wife, and he could have, remarried, and he could have like done whatever. But it seems like he was like he was involved. He was there. He was there for the kids, and he was a single dad and did all that. I think there's this Mexican comedian, and I don't know if you've heard of him, Franco Escamilla.
I've seen a few clips.
Your
Yeah.
boy, you might be
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
neighbor.
We might be distant relatives.
Uh, and he has this like thing where he talks about. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. Where he talks about the day he told his dad how he felt, and he told his dad, like, pretty much in Spanish, sus verdades, and he like confronted his dad on like just like why he wasn't more loving, why wasn't the whole thing, how he just wanted to hear his dad that he was proud of him, and he never heard it, whatever. And I guess the dad was like, I guess the dad had told him, like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the man you became. And was a successful comedian. And that, he was kind of like, man, I don't need it now. I needed it when I was younger. I don't need that
Right.
now. And at the end, his dad died. But he was saying that at the end, him and his dad had a good relationship, a better relationship. But he was saying that he regrets confronting his dad, because he thought about the upbringing his dad had, and how his dad was raised. Franco's grandpa was a drunk, and he would drink away the money, the family's money, and his
Right.
dad
Right.
would go without eating, and
Right.
his dad would get beat by his grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was saying how his dad never beat him, and his dad never left him without food. And yeah, he wasn't as loving, but he was a better dad than his dad. And Franco is a better dad than his dad. And the thing that stuck out to me of that clip is he says, but my dad was a better son than me, because my dad like respected his dad through it all, or something like that. And I think that's the part that like hearing you and watching the documentary, what stood out to me, or at least in that sense, in a family sense, was the dad probably gave everything for Oscar, and he could have been more loving, a little more a hug here and there. But it's one of those things that whenever somebody has something special, you kind of have to take advantage of it. You have to. I don't know if you've seen Good Will Hunting, and there's a scene in Good Will Hunting.
I have. Yeah. Yeah. Robin Williams, right? And
Yeah. And
Matt
there's this,
Damon, right?
yeah, and Matt
But
Damon and Ben
are you
Affleck.
gonna talk about Ben Affleck's thing when he tells him he wishes he would leave?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because, and I think that's what this is here, where Oscar owed it not to himself but to his whole family to be great, and he did. And not to say that Oscar failed, because
Right. Right. Right.
Oscar,
Right. Right.
but I think that's where I see it. where I don't think like, oh, his dad should have been more. Or to me, it's like, well, your dad kind of
I know what you're saying. You're saying his dad did what he could based on what he knew about, and I've heard that before.
yes.
I no,
And
I get.
that's where I land. Like, yeah, maybe his dad could have been a little more loving, but guess what? His dad probably didn't get the love that Oscar wanted.
Yeah, yeah, but
And
see, I hear you, but then there are also dads. There are people that were like, for example, in Franco's situation,
yeah,
where, like you said, his grandfather was probably a drunk, was abusive, probably. You got plenty of guys that turn out the opposite of what Franco's dad was like. You have guys that were beaten, were abused, and some guys, because of stuff like that, don't want to stick around when they become dads. So obviously, props to Oscar's dad because he was there. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I think Oscar's dad did talk about what his upbringing was like. I think he said his dad did beat him and stuff like that, and and outside of like being more loving, I mean, obviously that's important too. There's a clip of Oscar on Mike Tyson's podcast talking about him recently telling his dad that he loves him, like in person,
yeah,
verbally says, "Dad, I love you," and he says they
right,
both started crying.
yeah.
Dude, that's trauma. That is huge. That kind of stuff is like it has an effect on all kinds of stuff. And so what I'm getting at with Oscar's dad, obviously he was there. He helped with training. He helped. I'm sure he
Mm-hmm.
loves Oscar. But for me, it would have gone a long way if instead of saying, "Man, Oscar could have been an all-time great if he trained," it would have been cool to hear his dad say something like, "Man, if I had helped Oscar, when he needed help, maybe when he was older." And the thing I'm getting at is like him being a good dad, Oscar being a good dad, or Oscar and like not being around for the other kids because there were some of his kids that did live with him when he was like with, I think, is it Millie, like the Puerto Rican singer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there were those other kids that were like, dude, I met him in Vegas when I was older and we had dinner, and and there were like I think two or three other kids that were like, I didn't meet Oscar till I was older.
That's
It
so
would have
hard
been
to
cool to
pin
hear
on
Oscar
the
say like,
dad, no? Like
no, yeah, yeah, but what I'm saying is like it would have been nice to hear his dad be like, man, maybe I could have done a better job of helping Oscar avoid some of that trouble in life. That's what I'm getting at.
I think that's unfair because there was no way Oscar's dad would have known how to manage through that life because he was a regular Hispanic, he was a regular Mexican hardworking dude who had
Yeah, but a
never
regular Mexican
seen.
hardworking dude can tell his son, hey, dude, don't be a piece of crap. Take accountability for your kids. Go and see them. Go try to be a part of
For
their life.
sure, but to be like, okay, this is how you manage your way around all these women that are trying to sleep with you. Like, there's no way the dad would know how to manage that life. There's no way. And now I don't, and obviously the documentary doesn't say like whether the dad told him be a better dad or not, and maybe he
Right,
should have
right. Yeah,
said.
this is all speculation,
But I think that's really hard to put that on the dad. Like it's like
Yeah, okay, no,
if you
but
blow up and you become like this, like in this like band that tours worldwide, and all of a sudden you're sleeping with all these chicks, and you like get into drugs and stuff, and there's a documentary about you in 20 years, and your dad says, well, if David had if David was better, and someone's like, oh well, his dad should have warned him about the lives of stardom. It's like, wow, how was he going to warn him of stuff where he has no idea what that world looks like?
yeah,
So I
but
think that's hard.
it's not the life of stardom. Okay, because this credits Oscar. Oscar did what his dad couldn't. In the documentary, Oscar opens up about all these failures,
Yeah.
right? He's
Mm-hmm.
owning up to those failures.
Yeah.
And his kids even say, yeah, since then he has tried to be a better dad and this and that. I should be able to see that from Oscar's dad as well. If Oscar's owning up to those mistakes.
Yeah, but But you know how it is, though.
And
Like,
the excuse is that, well, that's just not how he was raised. That's not how.
no,
And
but
I hate that about older Hispanic guys, dude. They just can't open up about these
no,
things.
no, no. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't. And I think this is one of those things because you and I see it. You and I both have older Mexican parents.
Right, right.
And you and I, because we're younger, because we've been raised in this country, because we're open to education and all these other things, that we understand how healthy it is to have conversations, how healthy it is for men to tell each other, hey, I love you, I'm here for you, yada, yada, yada. For our parents to understand that is really, really hard. And
Oh,
it's not an excuse, but I think there comes a moment where I don't I don't know if the move is to make them to be the bad guys because or they should be better with like, well, I mean, it, it is what it is. Yeah, maybe he should be better. Maybe he should be more sensitive. Maybe he should.
I
But you and
disagree
I
with
both know what
I
that
disagree with
is.
them being that they're too old to learn, man. That's just see
But it is
that
what
yeah, no, it definitely is. It is what it is. But if we all keep that mentality, then it's like we're just gonna like let people like wade in the waters of just like staying stagnant. It's like, come on, man.
but like you and I are gonna get
There has to be some level of growth. You know, one is
you and
never too
I
old to learn. You know.
you and I are gonna get to a place when we're older men, when we have our children, and there's gonna be blind spots. And there's gonna be areas where there's gonna be like, how come you can't evolve here? How come you can't progress here? How come you're still stuck in this? And you're just like, like this is who I am, man. Like I don't like I get this with people who what one of my pet peeves, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Get in arguments. I just hate it. The people who are like, oh, like why do you have to be on your phone or you're on your phone too much and blah
Oh,
blah blah.
okay, yeah.
Or the people that you're in a conversation with and you take out your phone and you send a text or whatever, and people get all pissed off about it because I'm like, dude, like this is the world we live in now. Like this is like I don't like. Do you not know how to multitask? Like you can't have a conversation and send a text. Like I don't like you need me to just stare at you for like I don't get it. Like
Oh, I hear you. I hear
this
you.
is a job interview, and the people that tell me this is not older people or people my age and younger. And I'm just like, dude, like, grow up. Like, what? You have an iPhone too. Like, what are we doing here? And I think but there's going to be these people that's how it is. And I think in this situation, it's much more serious than an iPhone, obviously. But I, I'm more willing to extend the olive branch to Oscar's dad because he did what he could. And it may not be fair, and I agree with you from that standpoint.
Yeah,
But to
but
ask him
that's
to be this like to learn all these things, I don't know. It's unfair.
yeah, okay, but hold on. Here's the key is, and like you said, maybe he's better now. I would hope he's better now, right? I mean, like in this like
Yeah.
up to date, right? You know,
Right, right.
I would hope that like when they're in private, the relationship has gotten better.
Hmm.
You know, I hope it is,
Yeah.
right? But the thing with these old timers,
Yeah.
you're always given the excuse of like, oh, like the past, this is what had happened, this is why I am the way I am. And my thing is like, but you can change that now. You can make an effort now for these things to make them different, you know? You know, and I'll give an example, dude. And this is like
Hmm.
my dad, right? So like
Yeah.
I think I've told you about like the little dog that we have, right? You know,
Right.
and my dad is always just like, you know, we'll always be like, you know, like we'll always be like cariñoso with the little dog and this and that, and oh, I love you, and this and that. And then my dad, it's like she's like an object to him. She's just like
Well, your dad
my
is
dad.
100% right on that front.
No, no, no. But okay, hold on.
Yeah.
But even like my mom wasn't like a
Yeah.
dog person. We didn't have dogs indoor when we were little. Like we had a dog outside, and my mom was like never involved with the dog. But since we got
Mhm.
the little dog, like this dog is tiny. She would get like, dude, if a hawk or an eagle swoop by, like bye. And my mom has like opened up to being more receptive to treating the dog like a part of the family and this and that. And with my dad, he's just like, oh, dude, no. And I've told him, I'm like, dude, why is it the way that you like? Why are you like this? Like, why do you like? And I'll ask him, why do you think it is? And my dad's just like, well, I mean, like when we were growing up, like whenever we had dogs, they were just like, not that my dad was like a farmer or that my grandfather was a farmer, but a dog is like an object for work
Mhm.
in those regions, right? It's just it is what it is.
Right.
And so I've told my dad, I was like, yeah, but I was like, we don't have a farm now, and the dog is literally just like it's a pet, it's a lap dog. You can use
Mhm.
it. And the thing with dogs that I like over cats is that dogs always love you. Like dogs, like bro, you could abandon a dog and like leave it on the side of the road, and if it finds you, I guarantee it'll be happy to see you because it's thinking you're probably just playing a game of some kind. And so
Yeah.
with my dad, I'm just like, dude, like I know it's hard to like, you know, even with this dog, open up about like, being like affectionate and whatnot, but it's like, and I understand my grandfather, again did the best he could,
Yeah.
but my grandfather also did have problems with drinking, stuff like that, and it's like you can make an effort now with this little dog because she lives inside with us, and it's like my mom also make this joke too where she's like, oh, the dog doesn't do anything all day, and I'm like, bro, what do you expect the dog to do? She's not gonna pick up the mop and like start contributing to the household.
Yeah.
Like her contribution is that she's happy to see you when you come in through the door. You can definitely be like acknowledge her and be like, because my dad won't even acknowledge her. He'll just if she's like on the couch, he'll just like shoo her away. And it's just like, and I'm like, dude, that's like you can tell her to get off the couch. You can but with her, she might as well be like a robot that is like simulating dog behavior. And I'm like, dude, she can feel pain. She can tell. She gets excited when we're here.
Yeah.
She'll be sad when you leave. Like I remember when my
What?
sister left to college, the dog was like really sad. She was like crying a lot when Vicky left to school, and I was like, damn, dude, like what do I do with the dog? Like,
Well, I think that's hard because I'm like that with animals. So
I'm gonna break that down too. I'm gonna get to you later, bro. I'm already hatching a little plan with Stephanie. We're gonna get a dog in there, and you're gonna.
yeah, it's funny because she has a dog and it lives with her mom's house. It lives at her mom's house, and it's
Oh,
her
you told
dog.
me, isn't it kind of like old already? Kind of.
Yeah, and it's Stephanie's dog, and Stephanie was like, "Oh, can I bring it over here?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, but I'm not responsible for it. Like, I'm not, I'm not taking it to the vet. I'm not getting it groomed. I'm not gonna shower it. I'm not like that's not my responsibility." And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, I just like it can live here, but if you think I'm gonna like change my life for this dog, that's not happening. So
Sure, no.
so I'm like your dad. I don't know. I didn't grow up in a farm, but it just I I'm just I like the animals that I can see on Instagram that you can own, like I like watching pictures of lions and eagles and tigers, but
Oh,
I just like just pets gross me out, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. They just gross me out.
what?
Just so I'm gonna be and it's because we've talked about this, like, and so like, well, we have kids, and what are we gonna do if they're like, hey, I want a puppy? Okay, well, it's your puppy. Like that's not my puppy. That's I'm not gonna take it on walks. It's not my responsibility to feed it or give it water. Like it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to look out for the needs of this animal. Um, so Yeah.
Dude, dogs are noble steeds, man. They defend houses. They
I'm not
attack
saying they're
intruders.
evil. I'm not walking around like tasing them or kicking them.
Yeah.
But it just, it to me, pets are like babies. Like babies are cool, but I'm not like, oh, let me hold your baby. Like it's just like cool, it's a baby. Like cool.
Oh no, germ.
But
No.
toddlers, once they start like walking and talking, I love kids at that age. But like little babies, I'm just like, cool, it's a baby.
No,
Sick.
yeah, okay. I'm with you there. I think when they're that small, they're terrifying. I'm always afraid I'm gonna like
Yeah, so I'm just
not
like,
know how to
and
handle them
that's
properly.
and that's how I am with pets permanently. Like, cool. Do you have a dog? Like when I go to Starbucks and people will like want a pup cup, and a lot of times they'll like show their dog because they want you to like compliment the dog, and I'm just like, dude, keep your dog. Like, I don't care for your dog, dude. Like, here's your like, please. And there's obviously there's other Starbucks partners that are like, oh my god, what kind of dog is he? Oh, it's so cute. And I'm just like, dude, I
That's me, dude.
like keep your dog away from me. I don't want to see
Oh,
it. I don't care for it.
dude.
Like yes,
Are you
like
heard
the
it
other
here
day,
first, ladies and
Monday.
gentlemen? German's heartless. That's it. Dang, dude.
Monday at Starbucks, this lady pulls up and she's like, "Can I please have a pup cup? Like I'm just bringing my dog from the vet. I'm trying to make them feel better." And I was like, "Yeah, here." Like I'm like, I didn't need this backstory, dude. Like, here's a pup cup. Like, uh, please try
You would have
bottle.
said it, though if it was like someone's kid too, though, right? At this point, I mean, if someone was like, "Oh my god,"
But even then, I'm like, why do you need to tell your Starbucks barista that about your kid? Like, just order what you got to order. Like, keep it moving. Like, this isn't social hour. Like,
germ, dang.
look, I'm a very complicated pastor. Obviously, at church, tell me about your kid. I want to hear about your kid. I want to pray for you. But I'm at Starbucks. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, oh my god! Like, there's people waiting to get their drinks. Like, please order what you got to order. Keep it moving.
You just wave to the dog and that's it.
Mm,
You say, "Hey, how's it
no.
going? Bye." That's all you got to do,
I gotta learn. I gotta learn.
dude. I feel like you would need what's the movie? Oh, you see that? Have you heard of Balto or Toto?
No.
Oh, they're the dogs that like when there was like there was like some sickness in Alaska
Hmm.
and they couldn't fly and there was too much snow on tracks. So they
Yeah.
had like a sled dogs run
Right.
medicine in like terrible weather.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, that dog deserves props. Like that dog, like, dude, yes. Like at the end of the run, like some food, some padding by the fire. It's like, damn, dude, like, you saved people. You saved.
Right.
I feel like you would need that kind of extreme dog to break you to get you on that side of like, you know, yeah, dude. Or like there's people that go hunting with like their dogs and like dogs, end up
Right.
fending off like, a mountain lion if they can, or a black
Yeah.
bear maybe. I feel like that's the kind of extreme measure I would need to get you on the dog train, germ, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Look, for the record, I don't hate dogs. I'm just
You're like indifferent towards them.
yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
as apathetic as you could possibly get. That's how I am for dogs, animals in general. Like chances are, if you ask me, you want to meet my dog? Chances are the answer is no. Like, but I'm gonna say sure, fine. Like
Dang.
if I see your dog, I'm not gonna pet it. I'll keep my safe distance. Like just the way it goes. It's just how it is.
Dang. I'll pray for you, Germ. I'll pray for you.
What a way to end the pod. What a way. Oh
Oh,
man. But
also real quick
yeah.
on the Oscar dog. Um, I had a friend that watched the documentary as well,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, because they know Oscar now, right? They know Oscar, and after seeing this documentary, they were like, "Oh my God, Oscar was hot," and I was like, "Okay, you have to
This is a
understand
woman?
something." Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they were like, "Oscar was hot," and I'm like, "You have to understand. Not only sure, good looking dude, right?
Yeah.
But when people are crazy about Ryan Garcia now, I'm like, you guys have no idea. Ryan Garcia is a poor man's Oscar
Oh, 1,000%.
because Oscar was that the golden boy. He's the golden boy,
Yeah.
and he could actually fight. He could
Mm-hmm.
actually throw down. He
No, no,
would,
no, but he wanted to. He
he
wanted
wanted
to.
to fight.
Yeah.
He was thirsty for combat. Like he actually, with Ryan, I don't get that. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't want to hear this like second coming or next one. Oscar's one of one, bro. I don't want to hear it. So
Yeah. Shout out to Oscar. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So Canelo Saturday, we have him winning. What's your prediction? I think he knocks him out late.
The
10th.
11th. I'm gonna go with the 11th. I'm gonna choose the 11th.
Perfect. So enjoy the fight. Enjoy football. David, hopefully Mac Jones gets better, but if not, you guys could probably tag Caleb Williams. Maybe he can
Caleb Williams. There we go.
save the Pats. And hopefully Purdy. If the Niners win the Super Bowl, you're probably never gonna come on this pod at least for a year, huh? You're probably not.
Dude,
you're probably not gonna want to hear from
I'd probably
me
just deactivate my Twitter. I'd be like, I can't see the happy tweets.
You're gonna be like boxing black Twitter.
I'll be like boxing black Twitter this weekend. I'll be like, you know what? I'll just catch me in next September. Like,
you're gonna be like, you know what? I'm moving to Threads.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Moving to Threads. Yeah. Follow me on Threads. I'll be notifying you. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So Canelo, watch it, enjoy it, interact with us. I am back. I'm quitting Starbucks. So the pod is ramping up.
Excellent.
So we're gonna. This is like.
Let's talk about it all.
This is the return.
Football.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, have you been keeping up with Colorado?
Yes, I want to have a pod on that. On that whole thing.
I have. Let's do it.
And the UFC thing I sent you.
Remember that too. Yeah.
So we're back, but this is I had put it on the shelf. I had put the pod on the shelf because we would do the little boxing ones, but because I wanted to give it my all and I didn't want to just be inconsistent with it. And so I will have my life back and the pod is going to be back. So all the interactions,
some guests maybe.
Yeah. So all of it. So I can't wait. I want to have Aaron on because is he a USC fan? Does he like USC?
He went to USC.
So we can have him on and do the.
We could even go to a game at some point. He does get season tickets. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. So this pod is about to explode. As you can see, we've started to dive into like, the Oppenheimer stuff. So a lot of stuff being planned. You and I will talk like off air about all this stuff. But we're back. The Arizona podcast is up.
Yeah.
Canelo's back Saturday. Enjoy it. Thanks for listening. David, it's always a pleasure. I'll talk to you later.
Likewise.
Thanks for listening. Arizona podcast. This is German. Until next time.